passion is going to be moving forward in ministry with young women specifically. And I have come to this because of a lot of the realizations I've had in the last year, since being born again, saved again, really coming to terms with the fact that Jesus is the light inside of us. And when you are a Christian, when you become a Christian, when you accept Jesus into your heart, and you have the light of Jesus inside of you, and that light shines, and that light bothers demons, and it bothers unbelievers, and Satan's only mission is to seek, kill, destroy, and put out that light. And this is something that I wish I had been taught in church, honestly, as a child, because we all sing "This Little Light Mine," and I watch my children sing that song, and something just clicked that I was a child in Sunday school singing "This Little Light Mine, I'm gonna let it shine," but it was never explained to me that the light is Jesus in your heart. It also was never explained to me that once you have that light, you are a target for the enemy. It also was not explained to me that your light is more powerful than the darkness. So we're not to be afraid because we have the authority in Christ, but only to be aware. And hindsight is 2020 in that I can now see in my past that my light shined bright as a child, and for that reason, and generational curses and several other things, Satan's mission and his army and his minions was to seek, kill, destroy, and put out that light. And for me, it was through alcohol, numbing myself with alcohol. I was always extremely perfectionistic, and I found a release in alcohol. I found where I didn't have to be perfect, or didn't have to care if I was perfect in that moment when I was wasted. That was a big part of my addiction, and I can see now various things that happened to me as a child. I remember having a recurring dream that I know now was the devil. I don't know how old I was. I don't recall, maybe 4 or 5, between 3 and 6. I had this dream maybe once a month, maybe twice a month. And it wasn't extremely scary, but it was a man, kind of like a Grim Reaper man, dressed in a black cape. And we had a tree in our front yard, and I was in the front yard, and the man acted friendly to me, but for some reason I was terrified of him. And side note, every time I had this dream, I would go into my parents' bedroom and sleep with my parents, and my parents would say, what is so wrong? What, a scary dream? And I could not explain why it was scary. I remember that. Like, I had a fear, so much fear inside my soul, but I didn't know why, because the dream was not that scary. It wasn't like monsters or anything. It was this man who was Satan, who was dressed in a black cloak, and he took me to this tree, and we went down, like the tree had stairs beneath it, took me down beneath the stairs, and then there was a big open area, and it had all red sports cars in it. And it was like, kind of, I look at it now as like a proposition from Satan, like, look what you could have here, kind of thing. Like, Satan was trying to be friendly to me, and then I would wake up. It was not long. It was follow this man into the tree and down, and that was it. And then I would wake up just absolutely freaking terrified, and go and sleep with my parents. And I can see now that was the earliest instance of Satan presenting himself to me in my life. And from there, as I grew up, it became worldly things. I, as a teen, was anorexic, was bulimic, was obsessed with my looks, was obsessed with the world, wanted to be a model, all these kinds of things. So in that way, it brought me off track. Then enter alcohol, college, sororities, wanting to be accepted, and then indefinitely men and sex, and trying to fill whatever void I had inside. Although I was actively Christian this entire time, and was confirmed, went to church. My parents were youth group leaders. I went on church trips. I very, very involved involved in the church. But where the church has gone wrong with the youth, even back then, even in the 90s, is, yes, we don't want to scare the kids about this stuff, but teen girls need to know, Christian teen girls need to know, you are the light, you have the light, and things, distractions, men especially, are going to be sent into your life to take you off track to the wrong things and to push God to the wayside. And in that way, then Satan takes claim of your soul by you not putting God first and you putting things of the world first and making men or other things your idols. Another realization that I had when going through deliverance was about soul ties. I didn't even know what this was. A soul tie is something that is created apparently with any sexual partner that you have in your life, as well as, you know, any close relationship, friendships, parents, but, you know, specifically it was described to me as sexual partners when I went through deliverance. And that is something also that, yes, we are taught in school and we're taught in morals, you know, no sex before marriage, but with the culture today, it's almost a culture like, gotta test the goods before you marry them, or gotta, you know, sow your wheat, sow your oats before, you know, go sleep with a bunch of people before you get married, get it out of your system, whatever. That's kind of like the culture, kind of what we think, and what we don't realize is that we are making soul ties to those people. Sometimes even taking on some of their own trauma, demons, beliefs, by making that soul tie. And what happens when you make a soul tie and then you have a breakup is that if you do not heal, and in my instance it was, you know, I usually went from boyfriend to boyfriend because I was trying to fill that void of breaking up with one and, you know, replacing it with another one. And I didn't realize that my soul that was tied to a certain kind of destructive or toxic person, narcissistic person in my case, was what my soul was then looking for because I did not heal. So I know now that, I believe I've healed at this point, but I know now that that is why I kept gravitating to the same sort of individual, or the same sort of individual kept gravitating towards me, was because that was what my soul thought was love, was that kind of toxic connection. So that is another thing that for teen girls, they need to be aware of in a relationship. I have several ideas for creating conferences for teens, you know, teen women especially, about the dangers of drugs, alcohol, sex. Not that it's not out there like this is, you know, STDs and rehab and you could get addicted. This is a spiritual danger to get involved with these things, because it's going to hurt your soul. It's going to lead to the depression. It's going to lead to the anxiety, which is going to make you seek out substances and other things to fill the void, whether it's shopping, whether it's eating disorders, whether it's, you know, drugs and alcohol, promiscuous sex, you know, just whatever it is that's going to make you feel validated and loved. I think that knowing the light that is inside of you and the power of that light and the vulnerability of that light is something that women in general, probably a lot of adult women don't know this, but, you know, younger girls need to be aware of. I believe that I am blessed to have 2 daughters and a beautiful 14, 15-year-old niece to bestow this knowledge on, but I don't want it to stop with her. I believe that Christian girls need to be educated that they are specifically a target in the enemy's agenda, and be aware. And that's my message for today.